There was a man named Alex. Alex spent $2,997 on a premium financial freedom masterclass, promising a proven system to build online wealth. He now has 12 detailed PDFs, access to a private forum full of people just like him, and a slightly larger credit card balance. The creator of that masterclass, he just released a new, even more exclusive course about the power of courses. He also bought a second home in Austin. Let's talk about the real business model no one in the get-rich industry wants you to understand. I'm Jamie, and I've spent the last year analyzing the actual revenue streams of over 50 self-proclaimed finance and business gurus. If you've ever bought a course, watched a webinar until 2 a.m. feeling that rush of possibility, or wondered why the path to wealth feels so confusing while the people selling the maps are doing just fine, you need to see this. What I found weren't 7 secret steps. What I found were 5 core mechanisms that explain exactly how this industry works and why you've been playing a game you were never meant to win. And here's what surprised me most. Many of you watching have been on the receiving end of these mechanisms without realizing it. You've blamed yourself for not trying hard enough. But the truth is, you were never the student. You were always the product. And recognizing that isn't cynicism, it's the first step toward real financial clarity. Let's start with the first mechanism, and I call this the aspiration engine. This isn't about teaching a skill at all. It's about systematically selling a transformed future self. A study from Stanford University found that people are far more likely to purchase based on emotional future self-identification than logical need. When you watch a sales video, you're not evaluating information. You're watching and thinking, that could be me. The guru isn't selling information on Facebook ads. They're selling a mental movie of you finally being the person in the Instagram reel. The course is just the tangible token of that purchased future. This connects directly to the second mechanism, which is the blueprint of perceived complexity. Real expertise simplifies. The guru's playbook does the opposite. You don't get a one-page checklist you could execute in a weekend. You get a 50-module academy with workbooks and proprietary jargon. Psychologists call this the labor illusion. We value things more if we see the volume of work put into them, even if that work is just stretching simple ideas across dozens of videos. The goal is to make the system feel so vast that stopping would mean wasting your investment. You're not just buying information, you're buying a universe, and leaving that universe feels like failure. The third mechanism is the community as currency swap. They offer exclusive access to a private Discord or Facebook group. On the surface, this seems generous, but look deeper. This transforms your purchase from a transaction into an identity. You're not a customer anymore, you're a member. And that community then generates constant social proof, normalizes the guru's authority, and drastically reduces refund requests. Think about it. You're not just leaving a course if you're dissatisfied, you're leaving a tribe. The emotional cost of leaving becomes higher than the financial cost of staying. The community isn't a bonus. It is the primary retention tool that protects their revenue. The fourth mechanism is the infinite upsell ladder. Here's the truth about the economics. The initial course you see advertised everywhere is rarely the actual product. It's the lead magnet. The real revenue lives in what comes after, the coached mastermind that costs 5 figures, the personal mentorship, the software tool you need to implement correctly. Industry data shows the top 5% of course creators make over 70% of their revenue from these high-ticket back-end offers. The entry-level course exists to filter for the most hopeful, the most invested, the people who will pay 10 times more to solve the confusion that the first course actually created. This is not accidental. This is by design. The fifth mechanism is perhaps the most deceptive. I call it the strategic anonymity of their real success. Watch any sales video carefully. They attribute their Lamborghini directly to the system they're teaching, but if you trace their timeline, it rarely adds up. The wealth they're displaying came from somewhere else. It came from building an audience before the course existed. It came from mastering copywriting and running ads. These are the actual wealth-building skills they possess, but these are almost never the deep skills they teach. You're learning dropshipping from someone who got rich selling a course about dropshipping. Their most valuable case study is themselves, but it's a case study in marketing, not in the subject of the course. Now, here's what most people miss about these 5 mechanisms. If you've ever bought one of these courses, you were not foolish. You were targeted by a sophisticated system designed to appeal to your best instincts, your ambition, your willingness to learn, your desire to provide a better life. These are not weaknesses. The problem is that you were playing a game where the rules were written to make you a perpetual customer rather than a competitor. But here's the thing about mechanisms. Once you see them, they lose their power. The magician who explains the trick can never perform it for you again. You're not going to watch a sales video the same way. You're not going to see a limited time offer and feel that same urgent pull. The spell is broken. And that broken spell creates space for something real, because the true invisible wealth isn't found in the course content. It's found in inverting the entire model. Learn the skill they actually used: communication, persuasion, audience building. Build the asset they actually own, an audience that trusts you. Provide the value they only simulate: genuine, specific, actionable help that costs nothing. Your boring, direct path, the one that seems so much slower than buying a course, is the very thing their industry is designed to make you feel is obsolete. It's not obsolete. It never was. It's the only thing that ever worked. The person who spends a year learning to write well or to sell effectively has built something that cannot be taken away. The person who buys the course about overnight success is still looking for the next course. Stop measuring your progress by the modules you complete inside someone else's system. Start measuring by the value you create in the real world. Start measuring by your ability to produce something that didn't exist before you showed up. The person selling the dream of overnight success is just working a very old-fashioned job. Salesperson. They're good at it. They've built a life on it. But that life is not available for purchase. It never was. The person quietly building a real skill, the person showing up every day to do work that compounds, is doing the actual work of building a life that can withstand whatever comes. Patricia, in her 12-year-old Honda, with her packed lunch and her paid-off house and her $1.7 million in investments, understood this. She understood that the visible markers of wealth are expensive distractions from the actual financial power. She understood that performing wealth is the fastest way to prevent yourself from ever possessing it. The guru selling the dream understood something too. He understood there's always another Alex, another hopeful person looking for a way through. The only question now is which one you're going to be. If this reframe changed how you see the game, let me know in the comments. Subscribe if you want more breakdowns of how money and psychology actually work beneath the surface. I'll see you in the next one.